Imagine a crisp winter morning in Berkshire, England, back on January 9th, 1982. Picture a bustling hospital with gleaming corridors and the low hum of activity. Nurses and doctors scurrying about, anxious parents awaiting the arrival of their little ones. In the Royal Berkshire Hospital in Reading, a tiny baby girl was born into a warm, close-knit, middle-class family. That baby, Catherine Elizabeth Middleton, known to the world these days as Catherine, the Princess of Wales, would eventually captivate billions with her natural grace, down-to-earth charm, and a modern flair she's brought to the British royal family. This is the story of a woman who seamlessly traveled from school exams to top-tier fashion runways, from a childhood playing hockey at Marlborough College to handling official engagements in the ornate halls of Kensington Palace. But if you think you know everything about Catherine, buckle up, because we're taking you on an exploration that delves deeper, stirs curiosity, and highlights the twists and turns of a life that might seem fairy-tale-perfect on the surface, yet proves that behind the tiaras, there are real challenges, intense pressures, and extraordinary triumphs. Catherine's parents, Michael Middleton and Carol Middleton, set the tone for a family that, while certainly not aristocratic, always believed in working hard and aiming high. Michael had worked for British Airways, and Carol, once a flight attendant, eventually carved out an impressive path as the founder of a party supply company called Party Pieces. This family business, think confetti, colorful balloons, fancy napkins, and everything you'd need for a memorable celebration, became something of an early influence for Catherine. From the outside, it looked like a whimsical environment, the best place for a child to develop creativity, organizational skill, and a good dose of practicality. That sense of normalcy shaped Catherine into someone who knew how to be friendly, grounded, and politely firm all at once. As they say, a great party is part magic and part logistics. And perhaps that's the perfect metaphor for Catherine's life, a balance of glittering public appearances and the behind-the-scenes, everyday tasks that keep things running smoothly. Though she was born in Reading, Catherine spent part of her early childhood in Amman, Jordan, where her father's role at British Airways took the family for a couple of years. It was an unusual experience, one that many children of her background and generation never got to have. And, interestingly enough, that taste of living abroad might have given her some international perspective from a very young age. Back in England, Catherine was set to attend some of the best private schools, including Down House, though she studied there only briefly, and Marlborough College. Picture a tall, athletic girl with a friendly face, skilled in hockey and tennis, occasionally covered in mud during PE classes, but also known for her academic achievements. Teachers would describe her as a diligent student, polite yet competitive on the sports field. She loved the challenges of team sports where camaraderie mattered just as much as winning. Underneath that mild-mannered exterior, Catherine had a streak of determination, a trait that would prove incredibly valuable down the line. Fast forward to 2001. Catherine Middleton, fresh from the structured life of boarding school, found herself stepping onto the campus of the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. It's a picturesque place with centuries of history etched into the walls, a tradition-laden vibe that nonetheless welcomes fresh new faces from around the world. Catherine chose to study art history, which speaks volumes, an appreciation for creativity, a reverence for the past, but also an eye for modern interpretations. It's at St. Andrews that she crossed paths with a young man who shared her year of study in art history. He just so happened to be Prince William, the future king, not your typical classmate, right? Legend has it that a memorable fashion show where Catherine modeled in a sheer ensemble may have turned William's head. But beneath the sensational headlines, the relationship started innocently enough. Like many campus romances forged in the common rooms and lecture halls, amid friendly banter and group dinners. By 2003, the two were officially dating, though officially meant dealing with a swirl of tabloid frenzy whenever they tried to pop into a cafe or watch a rugby match. It was here that Catherine had her first big taste of that unrelenting media spotlight. The tabloids dubbed her Weighty Katie, a phrase that insinuated she was hanging around, biding her time, hoping for a ring. It felt unfair, but it stuck like an annoying piece of gum on a shoe. Nonetheless, she persisted in her own quiet way. Catherine graduated from St. Andrews in 2005, earning a well-deserved second-class honors in art history. And, quite sensibly, she tried to carve out a life of her own. She took a position at Jigsaw, a British fashion label, working as an accessory buyer. Later, she helped her parents with party pieces, designing catalogs and brainstorming marketing strategies. While the tabloids painted her as someone waiting around, the truth was more nuanced. Catherine was a young woman forging her own path, with some normal mundane tasks and everyday professional responsibilities, but also with cameras occasionally lurking outside her workplace. Then came 2010, and a trip to Kenya with William that sparked headlines around the world. The prince proposed with the iconic sapphire ring that had once belonged to Princess Diana. It was a deeply symbolic gesture, paying homage to William's late mother while passing the ring on to the woman he loved. Catherine said yes, setting in motion the wedding of the decade. On April 29th, 2011, the entire planet seemed to stop and watch as a radiant Catherine walked down the aisle in Westminster Abbey, wearing a gown designed by Sarah Burton for Alexander McQueen. A hush fell across billions of television sets, and in that moment, Weighty Katie became Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Cambridge. It was a fairy tale moment, but as with every fairy tale, once the confetti is swept away, real life begins. As a royal, Catherine soon found herself under a fresh wave of scrutiny. She was no longer simply the private girlfriend of a prince. She was now at the forefront of public duties, stepping into centuries-old traditions, part of a lineage that dictates everything from where you live to how you greet heads of state. She quickly embraced her new responsibilities. In many ways, Catherine's natural empathy and poise were perfectly suited to the role. She joined William on tours abroad, where they were greeted like rock stars, yet her approach was always warm, calm, and gently humorous. She endeared herself to people in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, India, Bhutan, Pakistan, and more. Whenever she appeared in public, the cameras went wild, her outfits sold out, and local communities felt appreciated, seen, and listened to. The effect was so profound, fashion experts coined it the Kate effect, referencing how any outfit she donned would vanish from store racks within hours. But let's not forget her philanthropic side, which soon came into sharper focus. Catherine has always been drawn to issues related to children, mental health, and the arts. She became a patron of multiple charities and organizations, from Place 2BE, which supports children's mental health in schools, to the National Portrait Gallery, reflecting her love of art. In 2016, she joined with William and Prince Harry to spearhead a campaign called Heads Together, aiming to destigmatize mental health struggles by encouraging open conversations. It was the kind of initiative that took an old institution like the monarchy and pushed it into modern territory. Frank discussions about depression and anxiety were rarely associated with royals, but Catherine helped shine a compassionate spotlight on these topics. She appeared in videos talking about the challenges parents face, the importance of reaching out for professional help, and the need to support children before issues escalate. As the years went by, Catherine expanded her philanthropic work. In 2020, she launched the Royal Foundation Center for Early Childhood, capturing her belief that the first 5 years of a child's life are crucial for emotional well-being and development. Then came Shaping Us in 2023, an initiative that continued the same theme, but with a creative spin, underscoring that if we give young children the right emotional toolbox, society can reap enormous benefits later. Whether or not you're a fan of the Royals, you can't deny that shining a light on early intervention and mental health is beneficial. Catherine's presence lent these projects legitimacy and a massive platform for raising awareness. On the fashion front, let's just say Catherine quickly became an icon. There's the high-end side, Alexander McQueen, Jenny Packham, Beulah London, among others. Then there's the more accessible side, Zara, Topshop, Race. Whether she's wearing a tiara at a state banquet or stepping out in trainers to pick up her kids from school, what she chooses to wear sparks headlines around the globe. Magazines like Vogue, Vanity Fair, and Tatler have repeatedly sung her praises, calling her one of the best-dressed women in the world. But what's interesting is that she never seems stilted or unapproachable. She'll famously rewear outfits and is known to love a good bargain. A thrifty moment from the future queen consort? That's brand gold, and it keeps fueling the relatable royal narrative. Meanwhile, the family side of Catherine's life was steadily growing. She and William welcomed Prince George on July 22, 2013. Suddenly, the British media had a brand new star to focus on, a cherubic baby with a lineage that promised one day he would be king. 2 years later, on May 2, 2015, Princess Charlotte arrived, quickly winning hearts with her sweet disposition and adorable waves to the crowd. Then on April 23, 2018, Prince Louis completed the family lineup. Catherine is well known for her hands-on approach to parenting, often photographed kneeling down to eye level with her kids. And while the world sees a carefully curated selection of official family photos, behind the scenes, Catherine tries to keep them grounded, driving them to school and encouraging messy, muddy, nature-centric play whenever possible. By all accounts, she and William want their children to have something approximating a normal childhood, at least as normal as can be when your father is next in line to the throne. But let's pivot now to some of the challenges that Catherine has faced. The monarchy, while glamorous to the outside eye, also thrives on centuries of tradition, unspoken rules, and an intense public gaze that can be both worshipful and vicious. From the beginning, Catherine dealt with an aggressive press that occasionally crossed the line. In 2006, William even asked for official privacy for her, but tabloids rarely show mercy. In 2012, a French magazine published topless photos of Catherine sunbathing at a private estate. This was no mild intrusion. It was humiliating and invasive, going against every principle of privacy. The royal family sued, and Catherine and William won damages, but the emotional cost was undoubtedly immense. Imagine a moment you believed was intimate suddenly splashed across foreign tabloids, knowing millions saw it, and that your family was outraged and embarrassed. It's enough to rattle anyone's nerves. Then there were rumors swirling around 2019, talk of an alleged affair between William and a family friend, Rose Hanbury. The press latched onto the story, and social media inflated it tenfold. Memes, tweets, and scandalous rumors circulated nonstop with no official statement from the palace. Rose Hanbury even made a public appearance alongside other royals to squash the chatter. But for Catherine, who had grown used to these intrusions, it had to be a gut punch. You can imagine the tension at home, the silent storms of stress. Yet once again, Catherine carried on with public duties, receiving ambassadors, championing mental health, playing with her kids, and showing up at official engagements with William by her side. Her ability to maintain composure through these controversies is remarkable. Another major storyline that overshadowed the royal family was the alleged tension between Catherine and Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex. When Meghan joined the family in 2018, tabloids went wild with dueling duchesses narratives, suggesting everything from dress code battles to personality clashes. Then came that bombshell Oprah interview in 2021, where Meghan mentioned an incident in which Catherine had supposedly made her cry over flower girl dresses. Meghan also revealed that someone in the family had questioned the potential skin color of her child, though later clarification stated it was not Catherine. Nonetheless, the fiasco escalated, dividing fans. In 2023, Omid Scobie released a book called Endgame, claiming Catherine had made remarks about Archie's skin tone, which ignited fresh speculation. Palace insiders denied it, fans traded barbs online, and Catherine herself, as usual, stayed silent on the allegations. The monarchy rarely comments on personal issues, so we're left with incomplete pictures, social media brawls, and swirling gossip. Whether Catherine and Meghan genuinely had serious friction or not, the tension certainly overshadowed numerous official events for a time, feeding an endless rumor mill. Now let's address what might be the most significant, heart-wrenching chapter in Catherine's personal life, her 2024 cancer diagnosis. The entire world was caught off guard when, in March that year, Catherine announced that following a routine surgery in January, she had been diagnosed with cancer, details that were initially kept under wraps. She broke the news in a poignant video statement where she appeared visibly tired but determined to reassure the public that she would fight. She explained she had to undergo preventive chemotherapy and intended to step back from her royal engagements to focus on recovery. It was a startling revelation. People around the globe gasped. The Princess of Wales, someone who seemingly embodied wellness and energy, was now confronting the specter of a life-threatening illness. Social media exploded. Fan accounts posted supportive messages. News anchors somberly reported the story. The monarchy's official channels expressed unity, respect, and the desire to grant her some privacy. And throughout this, William stood by her side, a figure of calm strength, a steady presence, though surely grappling with his own internal fears. In the early months of 2024, Catherine's noticeable absence led to an onslaught of conspiracy theories. Was she separated from William? Was she about to leave the monarchy? Had she undergone cosmetic surgery? The internet thrived on speculation, fueled by a single family photo circulated on Mother's Day, which some eagle-eyed observers claimed looked too perfect, suspecting digital manipulation. As it turned out, Catherine admitted to using filters and edits on the photo to lighten the mood during her convalescence, wanting it to look bright and hopeful. She later apologized for any confusion, explaining that she'd hoped to maintain some sense of normalcy for her children, who were grappling with the reality of their mother's illness. By September 2024, Catherine reemerged, announcing she was officially cancer-free. The relief felt by fans and well-wishers was immense. She returned to public life gradually, careful not to exhaust herself. One of her first engagements involved meeting with children battling cancer at Kensington Palace. Photos emerged of her kneeling down to give a comforting hug to a young girl in remission. The pictures went viral, capturing a universal sense of compassion. A few months later, she visited Southport to open a new cancer support wing. She stood at the podium, sharing her own story and praising the medical staff who had given her the gift of life. In that moment, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, was no mere figurehead. She was a survivor, a mother, a wife, and a daughter, connected to people who also wrestled with health crises and found solace in a shared determination to push through. Meanwhile, the monarchy itself faced a tumultuous period around this time. King Charles III, William's father, was also said to be dealing with health issues, leading some critics to question the resilience of the institution. Was it still strong enough to handle modern challenges like social media controversies, shifting public opinion, and the pressure of endless philanthropic demands? Catherine's own journey suggested that while the monarchy is steeped in tradition, it's also adaptable and capable of humanizing itself. She filmed heartfelt video updates, addressed rumors head-on, and even occasionally posted personal messages through official channels. Each step demonstrated an evolving royal approach to public relations. Stiff upper lip, sure, but with a willingness to meet the public halfway, especially when it came to something as serious and universal as a cancer diagnosis. In late 2024, with her health stabilized, Catherine participated in a special Christmas concert at Westminster Abbey. It was a bittersweet moment, resonating with gratitude and a renewed sense of purpose. She worked behind the scenes, organizing the event, which included a children's choir, a tribute to healthcare workers, and a segment that encouraged fundraising for cancer research. Observers noted that she appeared thinner but buoyed by an unshakable optimism. Her message that evening was simple: adversity can strike anyone, even those living in palaces, but hope, compassion, and community support can guide people through the darkest tunnels. When we look back at Catherine's overall contribution to the monarchy, it's hard not to be impressed by the balancing act she maintains. On one hand, she represents tradition, evidenced by her careful nods to royal protocol, her impeccable sense of style, and her discreet handling of personal drama. On the other hand, she embodies modernity, displaying open affection for her children, speaking candidly about mental health, using social media to connect with younger generations, and demonstrating vulnerability in the face of a life-threatening illness. She's walking a tightrope between a centuries-old institution and the realities of 21st century life, a role she's navigated with extraordinary finesse.